Hey, you guys, it's just us two.
It's almost like we're just recording a podcast, like
We
me and
are. It's
you.
a,
And
it's our
people
little podcast.
people
Yeah,
will listen
we're
later.
just gonna have a little girly dump. It's our last week of the Intentional Consumption Collective. It is the summation of the holidays. We're at the peak of it. Christmas is coming, New Year's is coming, and then fuck the holidays. We're done.
Wait, I was gonna say if
And
you
then
guys
here comes New Year's resolutions.
literally. So this is my holiday outfit, my holiday jammies, my holiday background.
Background. It's so cute.
Okay, I'm gonna take it off now. I can't take myself seriously. How do I
How did
take it
you
off?
do
Okay.
that?
I
I
don't
don't
know. I've
know.
never even used Google Meet.
She's tech savvy, girls.
No,
Okay,
actually, a
so
lot of the tech savvy people use Google Meet.
amazing. Well, this is going to be a really super conversational chat tonight and more just like a podcast kind of, that type of structure versus us telling you all a bunch of stuff and like you needing to take notes. And obviously, I'm sure we'll both have some tidbits of information, but it's more so for anyone who's felt really exhausted by culture, whether that's like food rules or workout pressure or the constant stream of like wellness information telling you what you're doing wrong. And it's not really about what to add. It's more about what you can release or let go of. So this is my bestie, Sophie. If you've not met her, we've been friends through a lot of our journey together. We were friends before I got sober, before she had a whole change of heart with her path of health and career. And we've just been through a lot of different chapters together. And her journey
I've
has
been I've been with Vanessa when she was high all
high.
day, every day. And I'm
Through
like,
mindful muscles, me just stoned. We've already created a little mini business before called Mindful Muscles. You can still find it on Instagram. It's cute, but
the idea is actually like there's something there. I think we
there's
could still
something
do
there.
something eventually.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
maybe
hanging
that
in
could
the
be our
ether.
podcast name.
Yeah, it we could really bring it up from the grave at any time. It's already there.
Love that.
But yeah, she is someone who has really changed how I understand health and stress and control. And I feel like she would say the same about me because she was the muscles, I was the mindful, and now we've kind of like both changed perspectives. I was in the heat of healing from my eating disorder when we were friends, and she was too. I really struggled with like macro counting. She was working on that and working on that with her clients and still does find a balanced approach for all of that. But I think your perspective has changed a lot in the last couple years. And
Yeah.
I've just seen you ground into this version of yourself that I never knew was possible for you. And it's been the
I
most
had no other
exciting.
choice.
Yeah. The body really guided the way.
Hmm.
So let's ground in really quick, a couple deep breaths, and then I'll cue you off for your share. So ground in, take a seat wherever you are, place a hand on your chest, a hand on your belly, just a short nervous system drop in, close your eyes. Inhale from your low belly, rib cage, heart space. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. Breathe in. Exhale. Really make an audible sigh. Breathe in. Exhale, let it go. Use the power of your voice. And tonight, I just invite you to have the intention of I am open to hearing what I actually need rather than what I've been told to do. I'm open to hearing what I actually need, not what I've heard online, not what I think I should be doing, dropping into our intuition, and letting this conversation inspire us that we have everything we need inside of us. That sometimes the answer isn't always to do more. but to back off, to slow down, especially in the deep of winter solstice. We just had the longest, shortest day of the year, longest day of darkness. So really giving yourself permission to slow down, to drop the consumption, to minimize wherever you can right now for your own healing, for your own reset. We'll take one more breath in together. Exhale, let it go. Okay. So first, I want you to share, Soph, a little bit about your journey, especially the phase when you were burning the candle at both ends and trying to control everything. Like, walk us through where you were, your breaking points, where you're at
Yeah.
now. Take as much time as you want, cut it as short as you want.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you kind of nailed it with like the mindful muscles. When we did that, I was all about, yeah, like working out. I like knew the idea of like listening to your body, but I wasn't able to listen to my body because of the stress that I was experiencing, which we'll talk about later. But like my my intuition was still so fucked up because of the stress,
Mhm.
which is so many different things, not just like external stress, right? But I was very much, yeah, obsessed with control. Like, okay, for a long time, I thought like being healthy was just about being disciplined, more control, more structure, more effort, more workout days. I really never had rest days. Like, my rest days would be like a 30-minute jog, you know,
Mhm.
um, more sweat, like sweaty workouts. And from the outside, like it really did. It looked like it had it all together.
Oh, yeah.
And for a while, like I got away with that. Like I felt okay. And um yeah, then there was that part of like the mindful muscles where I was talking about, like I was leaning in a little bit more to her side a little bit. I knew it was important, but I just like couldn't get myself to do it.
It
And
didn't, like, click for you, right? It
yeah,
was like,
it
"Oh,
didn't
yeah,
it
this
didn't
sounds great. I respect that she does it, like, that's
yeah.
her thing, and,
Mhm.
we're both these 2 different entities, like, coming together and offering these 2 things, how cool is that?" But it's like, were either of us really embodying the other side? Like, not really.
No, no. Yeah, exactly. Um, and I was really ignoring exhaustion too in general. Like I just thought
Mhm.
grit, pushing through was admirable. And like I said, control works really until it doesn't. I had to like really at one point I like asked myself, like, okay, if I'm a trainer and I'm so healthy, like why do I feel so anxious? Why am I so inflamed? Why do I have like crazy gut issues? Why am I exhausted? Why am I having panic attacks? Why am I disconnected from my body? Why am I always craving sugar? Why can I not sleep? Like I had any of the like health
Mhm.
issues, things like I'm like, what is going on? And workouts made me feel worse. They didn't feel good for me. They didn't like feel like they were supporting my health at all. Um, so I really did have to ask myself that. And like, that's when I felt like I really didn't have a choice. I was like, I have to pull back and really figure out what's going on. Um, and um, yeah, for a while I was like, maybe I'm still overtraining and under eating. So like I stopped training really. Like I took a couple months off. Um, and I started to get more into the functional field a little bit as well, and like learning about how stress affects the body. Your body always keeps score type of stuff. I got some blood work done and I'm realizing how unhealthy I really am. My cortisol is whack. Like I have an inverted cortisol rhythm. I had some thyroid issues. Like there were just like the out of ranges on my blood work was astronomical. And I'm like, what the hell?
Mhm.
And yeah, so I've just been on this slow journey of figuring out things that support my body. And that really is like, I would say I like the word intuition, but with my clients, I like to use the word intentional because
Mhm.
I'm still really intentional with how I go about my days, right? Like if it was up to my intuition, I would lay in bed all day a lot of times.
Yeah.
I feel. So like I'm still very intentional with like, okay, I need protein at breakfast, right? I know that's going to support my health and my blood sugar levels. And I know that I need to, you know, I've been feeling pretty good this week. I feel like I'm up for a lift, or
Mhm.
I'm gonna move my body, but maybe I'm not gonna go lift, but I'm gonna go to yoga today. And I knew how dysregulated I was when I found myself in that like parasympathetic state occasionally, where I was actually in that rest or digest state, because I would feel a feeling I've literally never felt in my life. So when I like would take a yoga class, I was like, is this what people feel normally? Like just relaxed? Or if I
Mhm.
like
Like a
force myself
quieter
to do a
mind.
yes, if I like force myself to do a meditation. Lately I've been trying to do a meditation that has like the physiological sigh in it. And I find
Mhm.
myself like crying, and I'm not sad about anything. It's just like this released stress, released trauma, which I think we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, that's really my story. And now I it's helped me with my clients too, like giving them more grace, and just being a better coach really, as well. But um yeah, it's just like a slow journey, and I also just have to remember like it's not going to be this like overnight thing, just to like be healthy. It's just like little steps that I can take that support myself and not burn myself out.
Mhm. I
What else
really
what did I miss?
that was a high level, like a
Yeah.
good brush over. I mean, we could have a 12-part series, 2 hours an episode about
Yeah.
everything that
Like
we've
I
been
had an eating
through.
disorder in college,
Yeah.
you know, that I went through binge eating. And
Mhm.
then I found balance. And then I was really like, let me drink my Quest protein shakes, my protein bars. And then now I'm like Whole Foods only. Like I'm gluten and dairy free now because of all the stuff that's going
Right.
on. And
A
yeah, so
chapter of like thinking that you were like leaving room for indulgence too, and like doing
yeah.
only the um like artificial sweeteners and
Oh,
allowing yourself a little bit of this, and then you'd find yourself like you're like, oh, I can't have that in the house because I know I will like absolutely pound the whole thing,
yeah,
like it's like there are different phases of healing through
for sure.
the eating disorder journey too, and that's not to say that you like weren't on your way, or like you weren't in a better place than you were initially, because you definitely were. But I
Yeah,
think there's still so many ways that we like fall under the delusion of thinking we are healed when it's
yeah.
just another mechanism of control.
Hmm.
And I witnessed that a lot in like our early phases of being friends, like this health disguised, this control disguised as health. And
As
I
health.
liked how you mentioned how like you thought that health was discipline, and that you just thought it was like pushing harder, and that so many
Hmm.
people admire that. But as sensitive people, as women, a lot of times too, like eventually your body's gonna fucking scream at you.
Oh
You
yeah,
just don't know when. And I've had my screaming episode, autoimmune, out in Greece, and like I had to completely start my life over. That was with my eating disorder too, my addiction. Like there's been a lot of different ways that I've had um that alarm that really just like really stops your whole
yeah.
life
And
and
like I
makes you
wish I
look at
could
everything.
ask. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I wish I could ask like the girls that listen to this, like what symptoms that they experience and like what they have, because like the things like insomnia was like my lowest of lows. Like if
Mhm.
anyone deals with insomnia, it is so, so lonely, so horrible,
Mhm.
the worst thing ever. Um, but as I've like paid more attention to like giving my body what it needs and not pushing so hard, which probably levels out my hormones a little bit more, like, levels, whatever that means for you. But like, um, all of that has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was not easy. Like you have had to knock on so many different doors to just see what's behind it, who's there, who can help, what little nugget you can take from each person. And it's like built up into this toolbox that's been an accumulation of years worth of like uncovering and
Yeah.
unturning different, things and taking different tests. And it's been full of confusion. And I know you felt isolated and tired and
Oh yeah.
hopeless at a lot of different points. And I think like the biggest thing that I want any of the girls listening to take away from this is just knowing that like a lot of us look like we have our health journey on lock or we're so far along, and we're here to inspire the possibility of where you can get to, and we're here to be authentic, and we're here to show you how to be a healthier version of yourself, but that doesn't come with the dark side of like everything we've been through. And
Uh-huh.
I think it fits into like intentional consumption, because a lot of like the health world correlates with social media and like what we unintentionally consume that's just like fed to us, especially in the wave of GLP-1s, which I don't know
Uh-huh.
how much that's affecting like my girlies, but I'm sure it probably is if there is any noise about, body dysmorphia or a challenging relationship with our bodies, which we all have to some degree, or a lot of food noise, and everybody telling you what regimen they're doing, what workouts worked for
So
them,
much.
how they dropped the weight, how they combat this, how they can push harder here. And I think like what I want to know is, what is the biggest piece of advice you would give for somebody who feels overwhelmed by everything that they're consuming in the health world and like they don't know where to start, especially when it comes
Yeah.
to hearing so many different things from people who call themselves professionals and coaches and mentors, and like,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Yeah.
just overwhelmed at this point.
Yeah. And before I get really into that, like to reiterate what you're saying, like it is crazy with social media because now like everyone has the ability to post themselves,
Mhm.
right? It's like everyone has a microphone. Everyone's talking. Everyone not only is talking, but they sound confident, like when they're
Mhm.
saying whatever the hell. I just watched one today and she's talking about going into a calorie deficit and, how she does her calorie deficit. But anyways, um, and I was like, no, no, I like literally commented. I'm like, I can't even, but I shouldn't because that's causing me more stress. But everyone sounds confident. And
Rage
then
baiting.
everyone, everyone also acts like it's so urgent and like what you're doing is wrong and like this nugget is going to change your life,
Yep.
right? Like that's because that's what like the algorithm obviously wants. Like that's how things get
Hmm.
get views is like the confidence and yeah. Um they just reward that, I guess, really. Like strong opinions,
Yeah,
and sounding really certain.
I
Um
really like that you mentioned the urgency, because
mhm.
just like the impulsive shopping that we've
Mhm.
talked about, the health information creates this urgency, and then the urgency bypasses your intuition or
Yeah.
the intentionality and brings you into the sympathetic state. And then that's where the control gets activated, and
Uh-huh.
that control replaces your ability to trust yourself. And then your nervous system literally just never gets to settle. And
Yeah.
that's the same pattern as Amazon culture, just dressed up as wellness, right?
Yeah.
Like that same urgency of like, I just need to click, I just need to buy. And I fall into that every time I have a symptoms, no matter what it
Yep.
is. Right now I have BV and I'm like looking at every fucking supplement under the sun. Like, how do I fix this tomorrow? Or the second I have gut health issues, I'm like, what supplement do I need to take? And
Yep.
I have taught myself so many times, don't get supplement happy. Like, don't try to
Mhm.
prescribe your whole life like by yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously you can try to add or implement some things, but I would say most times like try to get a second opinion, try to see somebody, try to get some evidence or like information on what you actually need, because that urgency is going to
Is
just,
making the problem worse
yeah.
because I deal with this too because I mean, you've kind of been with me through like me trying to figure out my health stuff. And like
Mhm.
there were times where I would spend 7 hours on ChatGPT,
Yeah.
7 hours plus all day. So like not only is it like on Instagram, it's like now we have all these things that can help us, right? And can
Mhm.
optimize us and can make us better. And I'm like, this is and the whole and I check my Oura ring at the end of the day when I'm ChatGPT, fucking stressed up at the top all day long. And I'm like, so if this
Damn.
is adding stress to, this is adding stress instead of support. So what I'm doing, like, so I implemented a rule with myself, like when I do deal with symptoms or something like that, I have like a worry hour. I do like 30 minutes where I
Mm,
allow myself to research,
yeah.
or like maybe look at a doctor who I can see or something like that. But or else I think about it all day and it's causing me more
Mhm,
stress and you're making the problem worse. I even
mhm.
have like when I was in the deep despair, I literally have like affirmations like right here that just like tell myself to like get out of my head. But that's a whole other story because I have like probably health anxiety because of my dismissals I've been through with doctors and
Yeah. I'm
everything.
sure everybody can relate to a level of that though. Like
Yeah.
the health anxiety is real, and we're taught that the issue is the food that we're eating or the exercise that we're not doing, but it's really the stress and the lack of safety and the emotional load that we're carrying, and we're
Yeah.
all asking like what should we add? But the question becomes like what do I need to stop consuming?
Yeah.
You know?
And like it's not that we don't have a lack of information.
Yeah.
We have a lack of like safety around
Mhm.
the information. And
Yeah.
so some things that like I kind of thought about when you brought this up, you're like, okay, so how do we know like what info we should even generally like good information creates clarity and relief.
Yeah. Not
Bad
urgent.
information is where it feels like it's really urgent. It's fearful. It's like pressuring, right? And then also
Mhm.
some things I noticed in the health and fitness world, because I follow a lot of like trainers and coaches and whatever. It's like, is this context free? Because most health advice is really delivered like everyone has the same nervous system or metabolism or stress load. Like this girl today talking about the calorie deficit. Like, this is what you need to lose fat. Go into a calorie deficit. Do this. And I'm like, that doesn't tell the whole story. Has this person been accidentally eating in a deficit for a long time? Where's their metabolism at? Where's their nervous system at? Where's their stress load at? Because it's not just a calorie deficit. Like it needs
Eating
context.
less does not help everybody.
No. If the person is like, it really depends. Like, you ask them a
Absolutely.
question. If they don't say it depends, like they're probably not giving you the full information. And that's not rewarded by social media, you
No.
know? So it is hard. But like when I want to post something like, you should add this bone broth into your routine, like it's, like whatever it is, it's really hard because I want to say all these like caveats or like nuances or like, well, if this, then that, because
Yeah.
that's really how health works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like the blend between Instagram and health is such a trip because not only is it something that we binge consume, but like on the creator side, like everybody is trying to market and advertise. And
Yeah.
so the culture of like just sharing whatever
Hmm.
has died, and I think it's going to be like revived again soon, but we have been in and still are in this age of social media where it is like push the hook, give the this, then the that, and if you
Yeah.
don't fucking like grab their attention based from like usually you get the most attention from somebody when they're in a fear anxious like based state. So they're trying to overload you with information that puts you in the state of like I need this thing, and
Hmm.
unfortunately most people who are creating on social media just don't have that awareness of like what I'm saying isn't for everybody, and so
Yeah.
you have to be your own best advocate. And the intentional consumption includes like what you're unsubscribing from. Like if
Yeah.
you need to fully fucking pull back to just like take a break and like quiet some of the noise in your mind,
Uh-huh.
you need to be deleting social media for a day, for a week. You need to be like insanely like purging through who you're following. And it's at the point where it doesn't even matter who you follow because your algorithm knows
Yeah.
what you're paying attention to. So if you're
Uh-huh.
insecure about your body, about this, about that, my whole feed is about BV right now. And I'm like on the
Yeah.
verge of buying another fucking supplement. Like it knows. And so we have to learn how to like acknowledge the fact that we're emotionally struggling and our stress has become unmanaged in
Yeah.
order to like pull back from that chronic stimulation that we think is making us feel better, but it's not.
Uh-huh.
Because just because the information's available to you, it doesn't mean that it's good for your body. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's good for you, but how are we supposed to critically think about this stuff when most of the time we're just like on automatic and we are not noticing how this stuff is affecting us, you know?
How do you feel like after you see that content too? It's like
Mhm.
my algorithm is always about like autoimmune and like I'm a chronic illness girly, and I'm like I cannot like label myself as this because like, and so I'm watching these things and I just like have this like pit in my stomach, and like I just feel gross after, and I feel sad, and I'm like, no, like I will literally then type like, okay, if I can't get myself to leave TikTok, I will type in like babies laughing or something. Like I oh, I love baby TikToks. My algorithm does have babies in it.
That
Um,
is smart.
yeah, I love babies. So cute. Um, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And
Yeah.
when you watch it, I guess like do your best to scroll if you know it's making you feel a certain way. Or yeah, take a worry hour, get done with it for now,
I really
unsubscribe.
like that tip.
I just got the brick
Did
that
you?
you like.
I think I might need it.
But the issue is like I'm at work and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna post my client on my story, and then I'm like, I like literally haven't used it. So
Uh,
yeah, maybe you can have mine.
okay.
Um, yeah.
What do you see your clients or people in general struggling with the most around like food and exercise right now? Like, what are some
Oh,
trends that you're seeing?
I mean, just in general, like the thinking like sweatier the better.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more sweat, the better the workout. Worrying about like calories they're burning on their watch during a
Mm,
workout. Um, worrying about protein, which is good, but then supplementing it with like, yeah, protein bars, protein shakes. Like, don't do it in sacrificing like real foods for it.
mm-hmm.
Um, I see a lot of women just under eating that you would never guess. Like, I work with trainers too. Like I work with a lot of people that in the fitness space that you would
Mm-hmm.
think are doing it all right. And then I have them track their food for a couple days to see kind of what they've been doing. And I'm like, holy shit, we're under eating. Like, and
Yeah.
so these people don't need a calorie deficit, and you probably don't either, you
Yeah.
know? Um, so yeah, it's a lot of women just doing too much. And so when I have clients, I was about to say 90% of the time, but 100% of the time when they start with me, they're doing less than what they were doing before they came to me. Um,
And it
which is
feels too easy. Like it feels so
yeah,
backwards.
so backwards. And then they're like, all of a sudden I'm noticing, they're like, I poop every day now. And they're like, I've been sleeping better. My HRV is really high. My lifts actually feel good. I actually feel less bloated. And it's like, shocker. So it's
Damn.
like, and they think they want to come to me for fat loss. And I'm like, okay, we can get there. That's what I say. I'm like, we can get there, but first we have to start with this phase. I call it the
Mm-hmm.
optimization phase, right? And then a lot of times they're like, actually, I feel pretty good in my body now. I'm like, cool. So you didn't need a fat loss phase.
He like so the secret was we were never gonna address fat loss,
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
And some of them after a while they'll go into a fat loss phase, and like we do it very
Right.
systematically. We do it so we don't ruin your metabolism and like that kind of thing. But yeah,
Right.
it's just all these women are so fucking stressed. And
Mhm.
we can kind of talk about stress because, oh, actually, I
Yeah,
have
can you share your
I have a diagram for you.
how do I allow you to
Share
share
screen.
your
I think I can. The right side. This is like the fitness coaches, what they talk about, what they do. So calories, workouts, steps, intensity, all the things that feel productive and controllable. This is like the fitness obsession. Okay.
Mhm,
But on the left side is stress. This
mhm,
all plays into your metabolism. So stress is nervous system load, circadian rhythm or circadian disruption, inflammation,
mhm,
digestion, hormones, emotional strain. I'll go back up in a second. Um, when that left side, okay, is overwhelmed, the body is already in a protective survival state. Adding more intense exercise or tighter food control doesn't calm that system. It often adds to that allostatic load of just like the full load in general. So instead of building resilience, the body becomes more stressed, more inflamed, more depleted. That's why people can be doing everything right, on this right side, right? Calories, workouts, all that,
Mhm.
and still feel exhausted, anxious, bloated, wired, stuck. You can't, as Vanessa talked about, we kind of had a combo before this, but you can't out exercise the unprocessed stress because the body doesn't interpret more output as healing. It interprets safety, recovery, and emotional processing as healing. Until
Mhm.
the stress side of the equation is addressed, the energy side, right, on the right, just keeps asking more from a system that's already full. And so this stress isn't just, let me see if I can bring it up again. So obviously stress is like, your work stress, financial stress, but it's also your circadian rhythm. It's also your insulin sensitivity. So like, are you eating lots of
Mhm.
carbs and no fat and protein, and your blood sugar is going like this all day versus trying to keep that
Mhm.
blood sugar stable? So that's something I've really been working on for my health, because it really did help my sleep. It helped a lot of things.
Mhm.
Gut, if you have gut issues, that's a form of stress. If you have imbalanced hormones, which you probably do if we have a lot of stress going on, that's stress. If you have some thyroid issues, thyroid can affect motility, which can affect gut, which can affect circadian rhythm, and you're going to sleep at night. Like everything kind of
What's
affects
motility?
motility, like gut motility.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Like functionality.
yes. And so here's another diagram that I thought was cool of what stress really is. But um, yeah, perceived stress, circadian, inflammatory signals, glycemic dysregulation. But um,
Mm.
yeah, it's really interesting. So everyone's worried about that right side when we really should be also worrying about the left side of this metabolism, because this all
Yeah.
affects your total daily energy expenditure, which some people call like the TDEE. So quite
And what
interesting.
I'm grasping from this is like there are more factors at play than we are probably addressing or considering.
Yeah.
And any Western medical doctor is not going to ask you about
No.
literally any of this stuff.
No.
And maybe unluckily, your naturopathic doctors might also not ask you all of those questions.
That's what else is hard.
Just
Is
like
like,
finding a therapist, you're going to have to bop your ass around. Unfortunately, that I've talked about this in either like a reel or a podcast episode. I think it was one of my first podcast episodes back where I was like, I am having a hard time as somebody in the like health, wellness, mindfulness, spirituality space of like telling y'all what you need to fucking do. All I can tell you is what I've done, but I literally have nobody to refer you to
yeah,
because they've either been local to Minnesota or they worked for a period and now I don't work with them anymore, or like,
they're missing one piece.
yeah.
I like different people for different reasons. Like
Mhm. And it's
my
like,
functional
I
med,
didn't have one therapist that worked for me from
yeah,
when I first started therapy until now. If you have, that's fucking awesome. But more likely than not, if you're evolving, growing, changing, unpeeling another layer of the onion, mentally, emotionally, physically, with a therapist, with a naturopathic doctor, with a Western medical doctor for some reason, and you're like using all the resources, like you're doing everything right.
yeah,
Because as you grow, evolve, and change, you're going to need different practitioners that can help,
yeah,
face. No one has all the answers. Just because they have a credential does not mean that they have the answers for you. And that's what's also been hard is like, I know you have thought so much of like, no, but why aren't you looking at this? Or like, you
mm-hmm,
are telling the doctor more about, like what you know about your body than they are. And I feel
yeah,
like that just goes
yeah,
to show that we need to give our bodies more credit and more like trust that there's more wisdom in there than we may like currently know, because it's all in there, and like ultimately a lot of us know what we need to do and it's probably doing less, and probably like figuring out how to stress ourselves out less, but you also do need some guidance and some help along the way. You can't just like intuit your way through
yeah,
everything.
yeah. And a visual that like really helps me put this into practice, because it's like it's still hard. Like, okay, so what do I do? Is
Right.
you remember the book that I like literally took 2 days off
Yes.
of work, and I've never read a book this fast. But if you're someone who deals with any type of chronic symptoms, pelvic pain, pelvic floor issues, migraines, autoimmune, maybe constant BV, like I don't think yours is constant, but like, okay,
Now it
so
is.
yeah, bloating, digestion, um, MCAS, like any of those autoimmune things too. Okay. So this book called Mind Your Body by Nicole Sachs, she gives this, she uses like a metaphor of like a reservoir. Like everyone has this reservoir, and this was like a cup, okay? And every stressor in your life, emotional, mental, physical, relational, adds a little bit more to that cup. And then what can happen is like that chronic pressure kind of like it starts to overflow. And here, wait, I was like, let me try to explain this so I make sure I explain this right. I wrote down what she says. Okay. For a while, your cup can hold it, she says. You function, you cope, you push through, but eventually the reservoir fills to the top. And when it overflows, that overflow shows up as symptoms: anxiety, pain, gut issues, fatigue, insomnia, hormonal, pelvic floor, whatever. The symptoms aren't the problem, right? They're the signal that's telling they're the signal that's telling you that your system is full. And the solution isn't to make the cup stronger, she says, or ignore that overflow. It's to gently create space and kind of start to empty that cup. So that might be like going and journaling, emptying some of that like emotional trauma. It might be maybe making sure you don't eat as much sugar because you want to like make sure your blood sugar is good. It might mean going to a yoga practice. It might mean, hell, you might try somatic therapy, or you might go get a massage, or you might spend a week organizing your life or something, like just to help empty it so the symptoms aren't, but the symptoms aren't the problem. It's your body is trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
And so what can you do to like lower the water level?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I just love that analogy, because whenever I do feel like a new symptom come up, I'm like, oh my God, like
I need to treat it.
yes, now I need to Google this and ChatGPT this. But then I come back to like, okay, I actually probably should just focus on nervous system regulation, maybe take a couple of days off from the gym, maybe, take a bath. Like,
the last time I was chat GPTing about, should I do this? Should I go in the sauna? Should I, is this going to fuck up my vagina? And he's like, you probably shouldn't throw everything at the fire right now. Just try to like cut back and simplify. Like go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Try to eat warm, cooked, grounding foods. Try to sleep more. Try to get off your phone after dinner time and open a book and get in a bath and wind down. And, it's just like coming back to that primal self-care is so key. And it's not the answer to everything. Like sometimes you do need medical intervention. And I know that we both have needed a lot of it. And obviously we're both here, like for anyone who has specific questions, if you're just feeling like, where the fuck do I start? Like, this is my symptom. This is what I'm struggling the most with. Like, we can, share from our own experience what we've done or what we've gone through. Cause I know Sophie healed through like her eating disorder in a very different way than I did. And if you're there right now, like that's something that you can't control your way out of. Like you definitely need support with. And I feel like a lot of us on our health journey, like that urgency, it feels like we want to get to point Z when you're literally at the starting line. Like when your food noise is all consuming, when you have a very disconnected relationship to your body, when stress and control is running the show, like you're not going to jump to where we are overnight, and we are not there by any means, but like we've been through a hell of a journey so far. And so we may just be a little bit, farther ahead, or we may have taken a couple different steps than you've taken yet. And I think that's what we're both here to do, is like to try to help illuminate where somebody could go next. But
you're always working on it. Like, we're both still, but
it's like, I couldn't like overnight just change my relationship to the way I thought about food or the way I thought about my body, or just like if I journal a little bit more, like I'm going to love my body tomorrow. Like fuck
Yeah.
no. I
No.
went through a phase, and I know you did too, of like being skinny in your teens to feeling like you blew up in your early 20s. We
Yeah.
both were going through so much inflammation, so many body changes, trying to work out more to get back into a body size that we wanted.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like our own breaking point and a lot of therapy and a lot of like slow, hard work on each step of like
And
how
the
we're thinking about
basics.
ourselves. Yeah. And like constantly working on that to like over time reframe our relationship to our bodies and to food, because like I used to think about my body and food in such a different way than I think about it now. And like when I was back in that old chapter and the food noise was so fucking loud and I just cared about losing weight and losing fat and consuming less sugar, and it was all from a place of frantic control, like I couldn't have skipped to where I am now, where like I'm not eating as much sugar because I don't
Yeah.
want, gut health symptoms to
Yeah.
come up or
Yep.
whatever. So it is a
True.
journey to be able to
Very
shift
true.
from that, like, just wanting to get skinnier and in a smaller
Mhm.
body. I had to go through a phase where I was the biggest I ever was, and I just had to like surrender to that and learn like no food was good or bad. And now I'm in
Yep.
a point where my gut health is so sensitive that some foods are good and some foods are bad for me.
And that's
And
okay for you now, but it wouldn't
yeah,
have been in
exactly.
your healing journey.
Exactly.
Very
That's like
similar
what
to
I'm
me,
trying
like,
to get at. Yeah.
you could not have told me, maybe even, like, a year and a half ago that you have to be gluten and dairy free for a bit. I was
Mhm.
like, "I do not cut out any food groups. I don't tell
We
my clients
had
to
that
cut."
conversation.
Yes, and I'm like, "I can't do that. That feels restrictive to me."
Yep.
But now I'm like, I feel better and it's not a problem, like, I'm like, it feels okay for me now to
Right.
do that,
It's not
but
like a mental battle of like it's not about the restriction anymore.
no.
There's like a different discernment that has came into,
Yeah,
I feel like, both of our minds, where it's like it's almost like a food allergy where it's just like, no, this is something that I like can't
yeah,
have, not because I'm telling myself emotionally like you can't
mhm,
have that because that's going to make you fat, that's going to make you this, that's going to make you that. It's
no.
like I just genuinely know that like I'm going to feel like fucking ass if I
So I
eat
sub,
this.
like, a chocolate chip cookie for, like, just a gluten-free, dairy-free chocolate chip cookie that's probably
Same.
more calories, because it's more calorically dense or
Exactly.
something, like, I'm not yeah, it's not like we're excluding anything, and this isn't to say that, like, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do this forever. A lot of times,
Mhm.
like, sometimes the elimination protocol, if you are dealing with maybe some autoimmune or some gut things and you're trying to, like, troubleshoot some things, right? Like, a lot of times once you do heal a bit more, like, you can tolerate things a little bit more. Like, I know even though Vanessa had when she was less stressed and was feeling pretty good, she's like, she could eat some things, and she's like, "I felt fine," you
Yeah.
know? So it's
And
not
then
always
stress
forever
comes
either.
back up, and then
Yep.
I'm a wreck, and I'm shitting myself or not
Yep.
eating for days on end and, like,
Yep.
chronically bloated, and I break out, like,
Yep.
and that has been such a journey, through every month, every week looks different. It just
Yeah.
depends. Like, sometimes I can handle a little gluten, sometimes I'm not well, and
Uh-huh.
it's so dependent on where you're at mentally, emotionally, and I think that that's something that's starting to come to light more, but, like, we forget about because we're so bombarded with other information that's not acknowledging that whatsoever,
Mhm.
you
You
know?
have to meet yourself where you are for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is something where was the question I was going to ask you? Where do you feel like people keep misplacing their effort the most? Like, do you think it's in that, like, doing
Workouts.
more the, like, workouts? Do you think that's probably
Yeah,
causing the
everyone
most
is
risk of
obsessed with
stress?
working out. And,
Yeah,
like, my body is probably the best it's been in a long time, and I literally do 3 lifts a week, maybe 2, sometimes none, and go to yoga. Like,
same. I am
yeah,
the
it's
same way.
everyone thinks working out is gonna give them the body they want when really it's like and it's not that's not even, like, the main conversation. It shouldn't be, but it is to be said because I do think the people that I see, at least in like my realm, is everyone thinks working out is just the most important thing. And it's literally not. It's stress and it's nutrition that's like getting your micronutrients in and eating nourishing foods and, like, oh, it's winter, like warm foods sound better for me, but I'm going to have a smoothie because I need to get my protein in, and
Yep.
I'm going to put some like, it's like that's where I think a lot of it is.
I'm not
is
gonna have oatmeal because it's more carbs.
oh my
Like,
God, I have
no,
oatmeal
it's
every morning for the
oatmeal is
fiber.
I love it
Girls,
so much.
fiber in that oatmeal with a little chia seeds, that gets you poop in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
so satisfying. That's what I would say.
Totally. This
What would
is
you
only
say?
the tip of the iceberg, right? Like this
Yeah,
was just the most baseline overview of like our share of what we've been through and just trying to spark that thought, just trying to like get the conversation going and the awareness illuminated of where you may be forcing more when you could benefit from
yeah.
doing less, choosing less.
I
And
feel like we covered a lot.
we did.
I
But
kinda wanna
it's
send
like
this to I wanna send this
also,
to my clients. Can I have it?
yeah, of course.
Okay,
Would
cute.
if anybody wanted to work with you on more of this stuff and like more of a slow approach versus like
Yeah,
this is my lifting app, this is what we do, like would
yeah,
you be down to work with them?
for sure. They can just DM me if they
Okay,
want. We
cool.
can chat.
Yeah.
Yay!
Okay, yay.
Yeah, my Instagram is do my business one, the at
So
Basil by
oh,
Soph.
at
B-A
Basil by Soph.
yeah, B-A-S-A.
Basil bitches.
But I love that you're doing this. I have watched a few recordings. I was on the finance one, and literally you're just everything you touch is gold. I think these conversations are so good. Like, save these and
Just the beginning, baby.
good. I love it. I love it. So
Love
helpful.
you.
Love you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.